Good morning, world, and welcome to today's brief episode of The Morning Bloom. Thank you for being here. And so this month, the theme is love and sexuality and aphrodisiacs. And so when we're looking at aphrodisiacs and we're looking at sexual vitality and love and relationships, the first place to look is actually at one's own health, because everything else blossoms from there. And so in today's love messages, today's card reading, we're going to use plant-based and self-care cards to get some little encouragement here for some ways we may want to explore and educate ourselves or our loved ones on ways to support and supplement their own vitality and health. We'll also be talking about mangoes in another episode today, as well as myrcene. But I really would like to get this card reading out to you today so that I am staying consistent with this process this year. All right, so the first one, Mugwort. Interesting, because my son, he had a very vivid dream this morning before he woke up, and mugwort, which is ruled by Venus, is also associated with dreams. Oftentimes people will collect wild mugwort from where they live and tie it in a pretty little bundle and keep it under their pillow or above where they sleep. So mugwort. And I'll read you the back of mugwort. Mugwort, plant description. Perennial that can reach up to 3 feet tall with a woody root. Pinnate leaves have dense white hairs on the underside and often have a red purplish tint. Small florets produce dark red or yellow petals, right? So historical medicinal uses. Known as a woman's herb, mugwort has been used to aid in menstruation, promote smooth childbirth, and expelling after childbirth. It can also it's also known as a nervine and can be utilized for anxiety and depression. So that is, and again, this is not medical advice. I'm just providing some education and insight into the herbal world for use, and if it sparks an interest, then feel welcome to continue to explore on your own. Oftentimes people will use this in a tea or a tincture. It has a bitter taste, so it's often blended with other herbs. It can also be used for smudging, often on the feet they'll use during childbirth, as well as a poultice, and some ritual and lore associated with mugwort. It was woven into crowns, and they were donned on St. John's Eve to protect against possession. Taken as a tea before bedtime, it is believed to awaken intuition and evoke vivid dreams. In ritual, it is burned as incense to aid in meditation or clearing. So mugwort. So when looking at how to support yourself to enhance your vitality and your love life, you might want to explore some mugwort. Next, Echinacea, which is also excellent in building your immune system. Echinacea is a flower and an herb, a herb that many people are familiar with, and if you're not, don't feel bad. That's what learning is all about, is getting to know and understand things that you once did not know. Echinacea is sometimes known as a cure-all. Plant description: grows up to 4 feet in height with hairy leaves. Unbranched stems sprout purple flowers with oblong petals that grow slightly downward from the bristly center. So they have those cones, those cone heads. And they can be used also in like limpias, bouquet limpias, so on that spiritual sense as well as on the internal sense. The roots, the flower heads, and the leaves are all used. And historical medicinal uses. First introduced to market in the 1800s as a blood thinner. Echinacea was used by Native Americans to treat snake bites, toothaches, burns, ulcers, coughs, and sore throats, and was also known as the cure-all of many tribes. So it's supportive for your immune system for many people. Oftentimes, if you have something like vitiligo, for example, or some type of something with your immune system where it attacks itself, people that are dealing with that may want to try something like astragalus instead of echinacea, for example. And it was used, by indigenous people where it grew long before the 1800s. You can find it in a tea, a tincture. You can also use it as a poultice. You can also use it for that spiritual beauty, or just the aesthetic natural beauty if you're not into the spiritual side of things. It's such an easy plant to grow, even if you live in a colder climate like Vermont. Echinacea can be very hardy and does not require a lot of maintenance. Ritual and lore. A popular herb used by many shamans. Echinacea is believed to bring strength and protection when carried, making it a popular addition to talisman, chasses, and rituals. I just think it's so beautiful with its purple crown there. It can also aid in helping one to stand tall and confident in their own self-esteem. It is known for that as well. And so the last one that I'm gonna pull you today, because I know everyone is busy, even on the weekends, and I have some chores to go do and a few more videos and some posts about cannabis to add onto my Instagram channel later. But the last card here that I'll pull for you today, one of my favorite plants, a heart-opening plant known as hawthorn, Crataegus oxyacantha, and it is known as the heart herb. It has these huge thorns on it, and I think that when we have something of high value, then we can look at thorns as a blessing, as a protection. So protecting one's heart, but also having this rich, juicy, loving, and open heart. So the plant has it's a thorny branch tree with white flowers. You can also use the flowers as well as the berries, and elliptic or oval shaped leaves. Oops, it's the top of a mason jar popping. And the tree produces the bright red berry-like pomace. So parts used, berries, flowers, and leaves. And historically, it's known for its use as a tonic. I include hawthorn in the elderberry syrup that I make, as well as in tea. And another little thing I like to do is I have these hawthorn berries. Let me grab this for you. Yay! I love hawthorn. So these are from Zach Wood's Herb Farm out here in Vermont, in Hyde Park. And Melanie, the wife, Melanie, is the daughter of Rosemary Gladstar, and this is her husband's herb farm. And so these berries, thank you, Melanie, are from this beautiful land out here in Vermont. There's a lot of rich lore about hawthorn berries in countries like Ireland, for example. And so not only can you make syrups and tinctures and tea with these, but also I like to add a few of them to a wine bottle when I open up a bottle of wine and shake it up. Sometimes I'll put rose petals and cinnamon in the wine as well. And it does change the flavor of the wine. And so if you're very particular about your wine, you may not enjoy that, but it can be a little special thing to do, especially on for yourself, or even more so on a romantic date or evening that you're planning for. So we love hawthorn berries. They can also be made into a jam. They're very supportive for the heart and the circulation. And so it's known for its use as a tonic. This herb has been used throughout history to treat the cardiovascular system as well as aid in digestion and insomnia on the physical level. And so again, like I said, it can be used as a tea, a tincture for ingestion, a decoction, and in a syrup. Ritual and lore. In England, hawthorn trees were tied with ribbons during Beltane to make wishes and ask for blessings from the supernatural. In Welsh tradition, hawthorn is associated with the Lady of May, a woman who scattered a trail of hawthorn petals that became the Milky Way. It is said that the branches and thorns were used in Christ's crown. All right, folks, I love you all very much. I hope you enjoyed this reading today. And just to show you, so underneath it we have holy basil. I said I was going to end it. And at the bottom of the deck we have fennel. So holy basil, sacred plant. Early historical writings on holy basil say it exists only to drive men insane. Ancient Greeks and Romans associated the herb with hatred and planted it while swearing and ranting in anger. It is also believed to have grown from the ground at the site where Christ was crucified and is celebrated in the Grecian annual St. Basil Day feasts. So as far as physical remedies go, and then I have more to say about tulsi because that description was not very enticing, and holy basil is one of my favorite plants and an excellent plant for your body as well as your spirit. It's a long historical remedy for respiratory ailments and hailed as an effective decongestant and mucus thinner. It is respected amongst herbalists as a powerful plant medicine in the treatment of cancers due to its high antioxidant properties. And it helps to, flush the body of free radicals and things associated with cancer treatments. But holy basil is known as the queen of herbs in India, and holy basil is associated with Hindu gods like, for example, Vana and Krishna. There's a Krishna tulsi as well as Rama. And so there's a very rich spiritual history behind tulsi as well, and it has a very delicious taste on the tongue, fresh. I grow it here in Vermont, and it has these beautiful flowers. It's in the basil family. So why anyone would ever not like this herb, I don't really know, but apparently in history there were some people who didn't like it. But it's cleansing for the body, it's uplifting, it's calming but not tiring, and has a delicious taste, is often blended again with rose petals. And there are tea boxes. You don't have to buy the loose leaf tea, you can buy it from other companies as well. Like, for example, Traditional Medicinals carries it, as well as there's I think it's Tulsi of India is the brand. So it's not one that's hard to find, and it's not one that's hard to grow. And you also would grow it in pots at home for love, like to represent love and sacred union. And so that's tulsi. And then fennel is also known as another sacred herb, and historically has been used as a digestive aid and reliever of stomach cramps, ingestion, heartburn, and bloating. Dating back to the ancient Greeks, fennel has become a wildly popular kitchen herb. It is said that fennel was hung from door frames on Midsummer's Eve to ward off evil spirits. In the Italian Middle Ages, covens of witches claimed to have fought late-night battles with rival witches using fennel stalks as their weapons. So I don't know, I don't really get too much into the lore when it comes to those stories. Maybe I should learn more about it, but I definitely appreciated especially the first three cards here. We have Mugwort, Echinacea. Oh good, this video is not too long. So looking at your dreams, how can you support yourself to relax and to dream on the spiritual level, or cleansing your space, building your immune system, so in a beautiful way, having boundaries, but while remaining seated in your own personal throne with your crown on straight. Followed by, again, there's this theme of having, dreaming, being at peace, being beautiful but protected, and having an open heart, but with boundaries, and having this rich, juicy, vibrant fruit that you can offer the world, but the strength and the power of the thorns that go around that fruit. I would love to go to somewhere like Ireland, where there's old groves of hawthorn. I met someone at the International Herb Symposium years ago who lives on a riverboat, and he told me about these groves of hawthorn trees there, and I've always wanted to explore it. And I love this beautiful story about the woman, Lady of May, who scattered a trail of hawthorn petals that became the Milky Way. And who doesn't want to have a vibrant, open, and healthy heart, emotionally and physically? The blessing of the holy basil and that delicious Italian love that Fennel brings to our table, the table of our heart. So that's your reading, your morning bloom for today, folks. And I am going to get on to talking about mango in the next video. Thanks so much. Don't forget, Earth is sacred, and you are too. Mwah. Go in peace and be a blessing. Bye.